Special event alert.
Spin that turnstile and sprint that quarter mile, or else you'll be late for Changeover, your weekly space news and variety show. I'm your host, Marty Smith, and I'm joined by Mr. History.
Hey, we're here tonight. I'm liking it. Good job.
And our little mule, Juanito Lopez.
Buenas noches.
We're here to bring you the latest headlines and updates pertinent to all Guardians and to the other lower branches as well. So take your seats, get informed, and have a laugh as we present Late for Changeover. I gotta do that in a big echo.
Or Changeover.
Gentlemen, we have some class joining us tonight. Right?
That's good.
Good. Yeah. Guess who's going to bring a whole new perspective to our little podcast man show that we've been doing. Air Force retired Major Anna Mondragon. Welcome to the show. See, I would do that, but it's so faint. I gotta see. You can barely hear that. Anyway,
I can hear
thanks for coming on. Thanks for trying out. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how you do. See if you enjoy it. I know you're busy. You still got a couple kids in the house, right? They're not out yet, right?
No, the last one is 17.
Oh, you got one.
So he wants nothing to do with us at this point.
Yeah, that's fun, isn't it? That's
Interesting.
the fun time.
I'm like, hang out with me. Come on, bro.
Like, that's the worst. That's the worst thing I could ever think of.
Yeah.
So
until they're gone, and then they need to hang out with you because they have nothing. Mom, can you give me something?
Well, yeah. I mean, the test is how long you pay their insurance, right? You know, it's like, oh shit, you're 26. You should be paying your own by now.
She's the only girl, so she'll be spoiled. It is what it is.
That's true.
Is she a daddy's girl or a mommy's girl?
She is a pop's girl and a daddy's girl.
Very nice.
Yes.
For now. Yeah, for now.
Yeah.
Our man in the closet is up in the Pacific Northwest with his kids. I think he's going back to see his mom. So he'll be back next week. We couldn't fix his audio last week, so we haven't heard him for 2 weeks. Hopefully he'll be raring to go when he comes back. Anna, you're from San Angelo, right?
San Angelo, there was an earthquake there. Seriously, last night.
Oh.
San Angelo, Texas?
Yeah, isn't that weird? In the middle of nowhere land, earthquake.
Holy shit, really? Do you have anybody who's still there?
My brother. Yep.
Does that happen frequently?
I don't remember that. I mean, tornadoes happen down there.
Must be all the fracking. We're just tearing the country apart.
You know what? You're probably right because there's a lot of oil down there.
Yeah, but they're just drilling. That's shooting at the food, man. That's just a couple inches below the surface. They don't need to really dig for that shit.
Yeah.
Crazy. So Anna got in, you enlisted, you went, what was your AFSC?
I was personnelist.
Personnelist, right?
Yeah, that's
that doesn't tell me what the AFSC is. It just tells me the name of the job, but that's okay.
It used to be a 702, wasn't it?
Yeah, at the beginning, but then
a long time ago.
It became a 3 Sierra.
There you go.
Look at Eric spreading knowledge.
That's how old I am. 702.
Back in the CBPO days.
That's right.
Oh.
Yes.
So she did that up to a master sergeant, and then you went officer and you got commissioned. What is that, a 13 Sierra?
It is. Good job.
And then retired as a major. So she got smart and went space, Eric. She didn't stay as a cop.
And I was liking you an awful lot until that just occurred.
Eric really, I mean, like just voraciously hates space. So I love that he's on here.
He's a closet space lover, though. It's okay.
I'm just
he
waiting for it to do something special.
He hates on the outside, but on the inside, he's really attracted to it.
I'm on top.
Good idea.
I'm on board.
It's a good idea. We're going to talk about astronauts.
We are. He loves every space story. I throw a security forces story in there every once in a while.
He throws me a bone. Yeah.
I thought you would be entertained to know that my new job, we're bringing the capability down to Buckley, but in the meantime, we're bringing military up to work on the development piece up to Boulder.
Nice.
And they all came up in civilian clothes. And there was an officer. And I guess, I mean, really, guys are motivated by women for the most part, right? They dress a certain way because they've been successful with women by dressing that way. This guy,
you were walking down a very, very tight rope.
No, not really. I mean, look at it.
I'm trying to figure out what you mean by they dress a certain way.
In the 70s, we wore bell bottoms because chicks like bell bottoms. If they didn't like once they stopped liking them, we stopped wearing them.
They're called boot cut.
Well, it's boot cut now, right?
I didn't wear bell bottoms for chicks. I wore bell bottoms because they were cool with stripes.
And that coolness led to what?
Well, I was cool without the pants too. Though. I mean, I was going to
The
meet
girls,
women
yes.
anyway, right?
Pantless dude, yes.
Yeah, that's true.
It didn't matter the pants I had on.
So, anyway, fast forward to this guy. He's built guy, big guy, right? But he came up, and his jeans were tight, right? I mean, all the way down to the calf.
And this was a military guy?
They were tight around his calf, but he cuffed them up like one or two. No socks, and then like these white kind of loafers kind of thing. And I was like,
"Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about."
Do you?
He's not.
Is he a lieutenant?
No, he's enlisted, right? Blonde guy, tall.
Yeah. Is he like a senior SEO?
Yeah.
He's a pretty big dude.
And he's in the reserve.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, so right now he was on orders. I know exactly because I used to supervise him, and he was wearing some probably white. And he was probably wearing some white Chuck Taylors, right?
Yeah, low tops. Yeah.
I know.
And
you know him.
Okay, I'll have to ask you afterwards.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, it must work.
And he's actually good friends with Brad Cherry. They hang out.
Yeah,
okay.
That doesn't surprise me. He looks like he belongs in that group. So, and can go to the gym and pump each other, probably.
But no, everywhere we've gone, everywhere I've ever gone out with them, like he heads turn to look at him. All the women always they're like, "Oh, who's this blonde, tall dude that's all ripped up?" Like, yeah, that's
Brad Pitt's here.
And he's got super tight. I don't get it. I wouldn't. I barely lasted.
Hey, if I had calves like that, if I had calves like him, I would be wearing tight jeans too. Hey, you might as well show him off.
I don't think that's why he does it. But
anyway,
he's not
smuggling plums, is he?
I didn't look that close. But probably. So.
Why do I feel uncomfortable with this conversation? I don't know.
I don't know. You guys are checking out a dude too.
Well,
I think Marty's the one that was really checking him out. He doesn't want to say it. He just wants to see who's gonna jump in. He's like, okay, I thought I was the only one.
No, I just think the guys' fashions are. I couldn't survive. I wouldn't make it. You know, that's all. That's all I'm saying.
And that's why we have to move out of the way and let the next generation take over.
It's the women's fault for dressing the guys like that, or for being attracted to the guys like that. You know,
I don't think they're attracted to his pants. They're probably attracted.
He wouldn't
to his
wear
muscles.
them like that if they weren't. I don't think
he could be just.
But I mean, if you have legs like that, all I'm saying is, if I had legs like that and the bod like that, why not?
All right. I brought up his clothes. Juan's brought up his body 3 times and his calves twice.
The dude's ripped.
I gotta see this guy.
I know.
You know who he is.
And he's in the Space Force, Eric.
Boom.
No, Air Force Reserve.
Oh, well, he's going to lose his job. So, all right, let's get on that note. Let's get to the news, shall we? This first story is not about the engineers at Boeing. All right. It's not about the big brains at SpaceX working on interstellar travel. This first story is about something much, much more cutting edge. Right. So from space.com, astronauts could ditch diapers on spacewalks thanks to a new device that lets them drink their pee.
Get rid of the mags.
That's a great line, too.
That's what we're get rid of the yeah, it's crazy. For years, astronauts on spacewalks around the ISS have relieved themselves using a disposable diaper inside their spacesuit. I thought maybe they would have a catheter or something like that, to be honest with you. Or like a bleacher buddy. Remember the bleacher buddies? Yeah. Just a condom and and it goes into a little bag
like
strapped
a water
to your thigh.
balloon.
Yeah.
How do women use that?
I don't know. Who cares?
Let's not go there, Anna.
Okay.
These diapers were called maximum absorbency garments, or MAGs. MAGs.
Yeah.
You're advertising for a maxi pad right there.
Yes, mags.
I can see the commercial.
This mag has wings. These garments, first designed in the early 1980s, collect and store urine, enabling astronauts to go on the go. Oh, clever raider. But given spacewalks can sometimes take up to 8 hours, mags can leave astronauts physically uncomfortable and at risk of skin irritation and infection.
Yeah, that would give you like a super rash.
Yeah, it says that you can even get a UTI up there from this. Ugh.
You would think it would be the same thing as some of the pilots use, wouldn't it?
I guess. I mean, 8 hours on a spacewalk. The only ones who are really going 8 hours are like the bombers, and they can get up and walk to the back. I don't know.
True.
Mags also don't recycle the water and urine, so while on their walk, astronauts must rely on a fixed supply of 0.2 gallons or 0.95 liters of water that they carry in an in-suit drink bag. That's not very much for an 8-hour walk.
You're right, and that's probably what's causing the UTIs.
Oh, great.
Good call.
Perspective is paying off already.
Good call.
But now scientists think they have a solution to this problem, a new lightweight system that can collect and purify around 16 fluid ounces of water from urine within a person's spacesuit in just 5 minutes. If implemented, the system would involve astronauts wearing an undergarment that's made from a flexible compression material and lined with antimicrobial fabric. The system also includes a humidity sensor that senses urine. The sensor sits within a silicone cup beneath the wearer's genitalia.
Is it
so?
Like an athletic cup? Silicone?
It says it's silicone. Here's the picture of it. Right now,
what if you have like really large junk? Like, do you get measured before you go?
You think it's a custom fit?
It's not a one size fits all.
Well, they're not mass producing these things like by the thousands. So they got 3 astronauts go up every 6 months. Maybe they could tailor them.
Do you get sized before you go?
Right.
It's like, hey, we're
the silicone cup.
Imagine you're going in there, you get given the wrong ones. Like, hey, I don't have 3 legs. Oh no, that's not for you.
Oh
yeah.
Thank you.
That's for astronaut Johnson. Give it back, Lopez.
It's like, whoa, there's a tripod on this flight. All right.
Oh my goodness.
But look at that beast for 16 extra ounces of water.
So the first thought that came to my mind when I was reading this, I was like, who's testing this? Are humans testing this?
That's a good point.
Or they to the dogs first. See if the dog eats it. If Roy eats it, then or drinks it, then we'll give it to a human.
That is true. It's like bottoms up, and you're like, yeah, you sure? It's testing this thing, right? And it may filter it, and you can drink it, but Is it still warm? But it's filtered.
I don't know. We have to
Well,
get into the
here's-
space science after that.
Oh,
You guys see Bear Grylls, right? He
he does that, but then he
he
almost
did that.
pukes every time he does it. Right?
he's done it, and I've
Yeah,
seen
he's
him
done it a
do
lot. But he says that's just in survival situations.
Well, and he was with the French Foreign Legion trying to go through their basic training. The first time I seen him do it, and I'm like, "Oh no!"
Oh,
And he's like,
he almost makes a point almost every show to do it or do something nasty like that.
That is super nasty, though.
Survival.
The detection of pee switches on a vacuum pump that then draws the urine up into a filtration device carried on the astronaut's back. Sophia Etlin, the lead study author and researcher at Weill Cornell Medicine, said getting urine away from the body as quickly as possible should reduce some of the health complications that astronauts are currently experiencing, like rashes, digestive distress, and urinary tract infections. God,
"But we're going to
The
make it
other
worse.
thing-
Drink
other
this;
thing
it'll
I
make you
thought-
feel better."
The other thing I thought of is that it has a vacuum system. Like, what if astronaut Johnson gets his he gets it stuck in the vacuum?
And now you have pressurized tissues.
Yeah,
Oh
now
my
he's
goodness.
clogged the whole thing up, can't turn it off. Now he's got to get back inside. He's
Like-
going to need assistance to get out of that thing. Yeah, that's a whole skit waiting to happen right there.
Yes.
Oh.
But going to your point about testing, they said spacesuits are limited in their size and battery capacity, so the bulk and energy requirements of the new system would need to be carefully considered. The team also needs to check that the device works under conditions realistically found in space, such as microgravity. If successful in tests on Earth, the spacesuit would then be trialed during real spacewalks from the ISS. So they're like, hey, we got an experiment for you guys.
But you see, like, is it that bulky though? Like, I really want to know. the real
It says
dimensions.
15 inches. That looks a little bit bigger than 15 inches. But
You would think they would be able to compartmentalize this thing
I'm sure by that time they will.
a little bit. Yeah.
But those rubber schnubbers, man, those things are pretty much that's sealing you in all over the place.
I bet you they're really
Yeah.
soft.
How you think? Like a PVC thing? No, like
They
a
kind of look like biking shorts. Though.
well, yeah. I mean,
just patted the other side.
they're length specific by astronaut one. Remember that.
They look like chaps. I got my astronaut chaps on. I can
Oh
see.
man.
It's wild. I don't know how long it would take. You got to get used to so much else, right? And they're like, hey, you got asteroids, you got a possible comm breakdown, thrusters might be going out, and oh yeah, you got to drink your own pee. I don't know how long you do that before you get used to that. But
Oh yeah. You got to drink your own pee.
yeah, you got to drink your own pee. So anyway, that's some of the innovation that they're working on.
I'm amazed.
Yeah. We can't bring a Starliner home, but when they do come home,
Drink
they'll be
their
able to
pee.
drink their pee.
Them two astronauts are probably pretty pissed off about right now.
Like Jake said, I think they're not as pissed off as the other astronauts waiting for these fools to get out of here
Get
because
off.
they were only supposed to be up there for like a week.
Yeah, it
something
wasn't
like that.
long.
Yeah. So, but good news on that Boeing thing. They've at least completed the thruster testing. Now they're doing the analysis.
What happens if the analysis comes back?
I don't know because it throws the whole launch schedule off because they got to get out of there by mid-August.
You're gonna have to ask Elon to send up 2 more pea suits. Got to stay a little longer. We need some more pea suits. Oh,
I tell you, he's just gonna send a crew dragon up there, like just hop on, get out of here.
we'll take care of you.
Okay, let's move on to some more kind of pay and family issues. That's what the rest of the show is. It's like pay and family issues.
It's becoming like that every week.
Kind of,
these
yeah.
days. Yeah.
But good news for the lower enlisted. they're now going to get an economic hardship bonus. So E1s through E4s, good on you. But bad news is it's only going to be $20. So
I'm trying to figure out what they think that $20 is going to do for anybody.
I don't know.
You can't even go eat lunch for $20.
Not anymore. Nope.
No.
From military.com, troops will start getting economic hardship bonuses this month, though only $20 on average. The Pentagon says that it's finally ready to pay the troops the economic hardship bonus that Congress authorized last year to help offset rising prices and higher costs of living across the country. But the amounts troops will get seem unlikely to make a major impact, putting renewed attention on lawmakers to do more. A senior defense official told military.com in an interview that troops in the most junior ranks, E1 to E3, will automatically see the bonus in their paycheck starting this month and going through December, but on average, they will be only getting about $20 a month. The monthly bonus amounts on average will total approximately $120 over the next 6 months till the end of the year. And they're based on the funding Congress has made available. So since they get paid twice a month, they only get the check at the end of the month. 6 months, $120, $20. There you
I
go.
want to see the official that, submitted this dollar value.
Well,
Said, oh, yeah, $20 will help those young airmen.
there is some thought behind this. All right. The defense official explained that broadly, the Pentagon took that appropriated $43 million and decided how many service members it could pay before the money ran out. The result is that the bonus will only go to those up to the grade of E3, not E6 as intended, and will benefit around 266,000 service members. We chose the pay grades because of the amount of money that Congress appropriated and what we could pay and what would fit within that appropriation. So they had some staffers like, all right, how much can we stretch $43 million?
Yeah, but even with that, the benefit will only go to E1 through E3. The benefit?
That's
You'd be
right.
better off with giving them a freaking meal card that said,
Well, they
come
can
eat at
get-
the dining hall daily.
They can get Netflix for the rest of the year. Right?
$20 a month, man.
Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah, there you go.
It's terrible.
Okay, and not only that, but here's the other part that they're arguing with this NDAA. A bipartisan panel of lawmakers recently found, after months of studying military quality of life issues, that military pay has not kept pace with inflation or civilian paychecks.
Now there's an epiphany.
Yeah. In June, the House moved forward with a version of the annual defense policy bill that would give a huge 15% pay raise for E1s to E4 on top of a 4.5% increase for all troops.
So,
Right.
just a question: when did y'all start having your kids? Like, what rank were y'all?
I was a senior airman.
So you're
I
an
was a
E4.
staff sergeant.
So
Yeah,
E4.
I probably would have been equivalent of like an E5, I
I was a
think.
staff.
So I was just thinking, like, the benefit is going to the younger enlisted, but they're the only, like, they don't have a family yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
I can't even bring myself to keep calling it a benefit. It's not a benefit. It's
Yeah, that's why I did that.
a Slurpee.
Yeah, right,
Little-
right. It's something so they can stand up there and go, look what we've done for the troops.
Ugh,
And the troops are going, $20.
I'll give it
Are
back
they
to
even
you.
gonna notice it?
That's
once
that's
it-
one haircut. You know, I think a military haircut is $20, $50, $20.
They can't go get that new Air Force tattoo they want, man. They won't even cover
that's
that.
true.
Right?
Yeah,
Can't even
that's
get new
true.
ink.
If they save it up, they could.
Yeah,
The whole
$120.
6 months. What a Christmas present.
Now I got enough to buy the tattoo.
So the
Oh.
House says they want to raise E1 to E3's pay 15%. But the Senate said we only want to raise it 5.5% for the E1s to E3. All right. So
Is that, and then that's adding the 4% after that. So it'll be what, maybe 9%?
yeah, I think so. But they got to hash it out.
Yeah.
Before they sign the NDAA. But we talked about that before. If you bump the lower enlisted's base pay up, that throws that whole scale off.
The
Because
whole
now you
structure
got
is
you got an
jacked up.
E4 almost making what an E5 is, or an E5 almost making an E6. It's like, what's the
It's a
point?
motivation
You know?
killer.
Yeah, right.
Like, why should I promote to staff? Get all that NCO responsibility? No, I'll stay as senior airman.
You can't do it unless you increase the whole scale, right? Appropriately.
Agreed.
They're not going to do that because that's millions and millions of dollars. But you could give BAH
Well, if we take
or
the
BAS,
Senate
you could bump
12% raises
you
every
could bump
year,
those things up, right?
right? Let's reduce their raises from, I'm
Oh,
sure
come on, Eric. That's not realistic. You know
Well,
that.
I think, Marty, like what you're getting at, I think for the quality of life, I agree with you. If you're going to be being housed off base or even on base, like I think when you start digging into this, oh, I can't afford to live there, or I can't afford, my living conditions, then
Right.
maybe reassess the housing allowance.
Well, sure.
Because here's the thing is like I always felt maybe housing allowance should be one set for all ranks, right? Where like, hey, let's average this out, and it's like, what's a good quality of life for everybody that serves?
Well, that would be
Ver-
nice
versus-
to get to be an E3 and get
Same thing
an
that Major's
O3's
getting.
housing allowance.
Right.
I'd be like, holy shit, that's good money, right?
No, but just think about like the junior enlisted that have families and stuff like that, right? Like
No, I'm
they
with you.
get, yeah. So
I'm with
because
you.
even when I was a senior airman, I worked 2 other jobs when I was an airman.
Right.
And then because my wife was staying at home, I was working 2 other jobs and stuff like that, just
Yeah,
so
you
I
were-
could get.
You were bouncing at shotguns, right?
Yeah, I was doing that. No, so I was doing. Actually, I worked at Home Depot and I did security escort at Buckley. That's what I was
Nice.
doing.
We talked about this one time about what's all the little like side jobs that you could do. Remember Amway was one of them?
Amway.
The
The pyramid.
Jake brought up Pampered Chef. I didn't know
Yeah.
Pampered Chef was a thing.
Yeah.
Mary Kay.
Mary
Mary
Kay
Kay
was
was a big one.
Yeah.
I worked at Walgreens, J.C. Penney's, and Zurich Insurance.
And this when you were probably an airman, right? Or
Oh,
even
you
in
were
staff.
enlisted?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah. So like, and that's the thing is on my peer groups at the dorms, and even when I was out of the dorms, when you would talk to my peer groups, we all had a second job.
Yep.
A lot of us
Yeah.
had a second job or like even 3 jobs. So
Right.
like, I don't think like sometimes people say, oh yeah, like how can you afford to do this? And then when I would tell them I had a second job or even a third job, right? Oh, how do you manage to do this? Like you just fucking make it happen because like you have to make it happen. But I mean, I don't know. I guess we figured out a way too. And like,
No, but that's
Yeah.
another thing why the leadership could never understand. It's like, why is he all pissed off about working an extra shift? Because you just cost him, 4 hours of these other jobs where he was
Yep.
making a lot of money.
That makes-
my checks doing security escort were more than my senior airman checks.
I believe
Yeah,
I was getting
that
paid
was-
$25 to $30 an hour.
Doing
You can do
escort
that.
was money in the bank when all you had to do was
Yeah.
just sit there and watch these knuckleheads do whatever they're going to do. And you were getting $20 a month or $20 an hour doing it or whatever it was.
I got to $25 to $30, and that you're talking about.
Holy
15,
cow, just for
16.
escorting? Wow,
Yeah.
that's good money.
That is
I'm
really
surprised
good
you stayed in. I'd have been like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, no, but I had a goal of like retirement and everything else. I was like, and now it's paying off dividends. So,
It is now.
retired, yeah.
You questioned it back then, though, didn't you?
There was a lot of times where I questioned, like, hey, why am I doing this?
Ditto.
But then again, I would do these calculations. It's like, okay, I don't have to pay my healthcare insurance. I do get housing allowance and stuff. And then by the time I would calculate how much would I have to make on the outside. So when I was first thinking about it as a staff sergeant, to make what I was making after taxes and then contributions and everything else, I would have had to make about $70,000 to break even.
Okay.
Right. So, but you're talking about 15 years ago. And by then, I was working towards my bachelor's degree and
Right.
then stuff like that. So I didn't have those like other things on my resume. So for me, it didn't make sense to even get out because I knew, like, you know what? Even though I'm a staff, I still get paid pretty good money for what I'm doing. And then
Yeah.
for me to go look for another job and stuff like that, because some of these airmen that you talk to now or guardians, they want to get out as E4s, and then they get offered a job for 80, 90 grand, but then
Yeah.
taxes come in and reality checks like, man, I'm getting the same check I was getting as a senior airman or E4 in the military. Is like, yeah, because you never calculated all the
That's
other
right.
incentives.
Car registration alone.
That's that's
I'm nervous about
sucks.
that this year because I used to claim the state of Texas and I didn't have to pay the car registration.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you guys were exempt, right?
And there is a lot of benefits that we do get when you're serving active duty.
Yeah.
And that I think we take for granted.
You want to know how
Oh.
crappy of a job I was before I came into the reserves? I was working a second shift production supervisor at Cintas Uniform Company.
Centos.
8 Swiss said, "Do you want to come on full time?" And I looked at the full time pay for an E5 based on my manager pay at Cintas, and it was the same. I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm coming on."
Hell yeah.
Well, and then how many teachers like reserve enlisted like come and want to get on orders because they're teachers and they get treated like shit from the students, the parents. You have all the, and then you talk to them, it's like, how much more money do you make as being a E4? And this is like, they say it's a dramatic like difference,
Right.
enough to where they want to go back teaching. And
But they
then-
have to do something with pay because you can't
Yeah.
have somebody in the military as an E2, E3, and the guy working at Robin Hood over at the BX is making more than him. You know, there's a
even-
problem with that. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
There's a problem with retention. There's a problem with the recruiting, and that's probably what they're saying. So,
I have a
Like I
question
said,
for
I think-
Anna. Anna, when you switched from enlisted to officer, what rank in the officer ranks did you go, oh, now I am seeing a significant increase in my financial security? Was that
Captain.
right at first lieutenant,
It
second
was
lieutenant?
captain. It was
Yeah,
like
okay.
captain.
captain.
So
right,
captain,
right.
you went, oh, look at what I'm finally making
Captain's a
something.
big jump. It's
Yeah.
one of the bigger jumps, actually.
Because you still get O3E pay.
so it's like
Oh,
close to
that's a
major pay,
good
right?
scale. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah,
It was nice.
yeah.
Hmm.
But I think lieutenant to captain is bigger than captain to major. I mean, just the amount of increase. I think it's bigger, but I can't remember. So
I think you're right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we talk about more trouble for military families?
I thought we just covered that.
Well,
We're giving
yes.
them $20. What else?
Well,
do they
no,
want?
that was just military. So let's talk about now. This article didn't really cover it, but I'd like to talk about it. So and this one's like a month old, but shit, I don't remember who this is from. I screwed up my numbers.
It's military.com.
I think it was military.com. Thank you very much, new girl. Do military
I
families really need to move so much? What'd you say? I walked all over you. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so this talks about moving. All right. And it raises the question, but it doesn't address the question. But we'll get to that. Moving to a new base every few years is the most taxing requirements military families have to face. A new report from a leading advocacy group argues it's time to give the pace of those moves known as permanent changes of station, or PCSs, a fresh look. Now, they didn't really go into it. They just go into the costs of moving. So the group's 2023 Military Family Support Programming Survey, MFSPS, released Wednesday, explored some of the perennial challenges that burden military families. The 109-page report questioned whether changing the frequent shuffle between bases, which military officials argue is necessary to meet operational requirements, fill empty jobs, and enable them to be promoted, could affect recurring issues related to financial stability, such as military spouse unemployment and other concerns such as children's education. So, but it does make you wonder. It's like, why are we on a rotation of 3 to 4 years? I couldn't
Kelly's
find
shaking
it.
her
And
head.
officers
Tell us,
officers are even 2 years, or even senior NCOs, SCOs. They're on the 2-year rotation. So
Well,
it's
a
like,
couple of years ago, they bumped it up
Yeah.
to 4, didn't they? Say, okay, your
they were
assignment's gonna be
saying
like
if you really
4,
want to homestead, they'll give you that option. So, but I think it all depends. I really feel like you have enough volunteers that are willing to PCS.
well,
But
I
I could
thought
be
a lot
wrong.
of it was on job related too. Job
Yeah.
requirements, pushing to areas that were low
But-
man.
I always thought it's
manning.
because you have shitty assignments that nobody wants to stay at, so you got to rotate people up to those
I'm sure that's a
in
piece of
order
the
to
pie,
come
too.
back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
there's a lot of remotes. There's a lot of 1-year remotes, so you got churn there.
But I guess the question is, do we really need to put that burden on families?
Yeah.
And I really think the answer, I would say, depending on the job, I say you don't have to. You don't have to put that burden. But then keeping people in the same assignment and stagnating them starts building it could be a bad culture too.
It
And
could be a
sometimes you
good
need
thing.
that
It could be a
change.
bad thing. You're right.
A bad
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
And if somebody wants to get out of
And-
there, it's like, fucking
Yeah.
PCS
So how long-
me, please.
How long did you go through training when you went to missile warning? Was it 8 weeks? 6 weeks?
You mean outside of like the basic EUST, OUST,
Yeah.
that
the
stuff?
one that you got when you got to Buckley.
I think when I went to mission, I think mission was 8 weeks. I think it was 8 weeks.
So my thought is, why would you not make their PCS cycle, I don't know, 6 to 7 years? Because I'm thinking of return on investment.
Right.
So we put you through training for 8 weeks. I want you to be a SME. I want you to be smart, especially in missile warning. You're talking about multi-million-dollar satellite that you can't replace. So like GPS, all of the other ones that are at Schriever. Like,
Right.
what's the return on investment when you're PCSing them every 4 to, whatever?
Well,
it
and
is.
for a period of time there, Vandenberg was saying, hey, you're going from Buckley to Schriever. All right, you got to go out to the course, 6, 8 weeks, whatever. And then you go to Buckley, and then you're PCSing down to Schriever. Well, you got to go back out to Vandenberg, get that training, go back out to Schriever, and then say space is small, so you're coming back up to Schriever, but you're not going to do mission, you're going to do system, back out to Vandenberg again. I mean, you're right. For a commander, he's like, I'm wasting 2 or 3 months of this guy's time with security clearances and training. Yeah, you're right. Why can't he stay 5, 6 years?
But
So the
take
money
away
that they
that.
save with the lessening PCSs and replacing the cost of their furniture because it always gets broken, give that to the pay raise. Like, let's be smart about
Yeah.
this.
Well,
Sure.
and then on top of that, though, let's take away the space operator, like the defenders and CSS, right? We have a representative
Yes.
of each right now.
They
Let's
train the
use those-
cops once, and that's it for the crew.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. But was there a necessity to PCS them all the time? And if there was, I want from your career field and your experience, why was there a benefit or why was there not a benefit?
Right. I mean, it's upheaval when it doesn't really need to be upheaval. I mean, if you go back to the war, they were in one unit. That was it. World War II. They didn't change units. That was it. You're there for 4 years or whatever it is. So why we have this rhythm? I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting question, and
Why
I
don't
tried
you
to
just-
search it, and there was no satisfying answer on it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it for like change of commands and commanders, just because you don't want to stagnate the same leadership and you want
That's
to
fair.
change. But for everything else, though, yeah, I don't see why. I mean, yeah.
You go. In addition to that, you go on a PCS move. When you first get there, it takes you months to like get your claim, get your shit ready. Hopefully, they have a house for you. Yeah. If they don't, then you got to go find something off base. That takes several months to do that. And then on the tail end of that, if you did buy a house or rent a house, you got to get out of that house. You got to get into temporary lodging and all that stuff. So your upheaval could be 3 months on the front side, 3 months on the back side. You got 4 years. Now you're down to 3.5 years. You take another couple months out of that for training. So
And now you're
Commander's
pissed
like,
off that it took so long, and I'm definitely getting
And then
out.
people get out.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah.
So
Right.
this might also be a solution to retention, because if
Yeah,
like
sure.
you can
Yes.
guarantee people, hey, you're going to stay here. Because most of the people I see get out, it's either from the first or second term, and I see a larger percentage get out of the second term because now they have kids, they have family. Now they're thinking like, hey, I don't want a PCS.
I can't.
I
Right.
don't want to
Yeah.
move around.
Yeah.
So
Well-
I mean, I think it's a good retention tool. It's like, hey, we are going to reassess this.
Well,
We're gonna
that's
see
what the
what-
reserve AGR
Yeah.
program was, right? I mean, everybody loved that. You're like, hey, I get to do what I love.
That's why I
I
went
never have
reserve.
to move. Fuck it. I may not get promoted because I never have to move. And that
Right.
guy above me is not moving, but I get to do the job I like in the place, and I don't have to move my family,
No.
and I still count towards retirement.
Yeah.
And it was so good that the Space Force is going to get rid of it.
But here's the other thing is,
So
and I'm gonna
dumb.
use. I like the way the structure worked in the reserve, because like
Yeah.
we were able to, like, if we wanted to move, we could apply for the job, move around,
Right.
whatever. But
Right.
then we were also lucky and fortunate enough to be in space where if you lived in Castle Rock, you could drive to Buckley or you go to Shreveport or Peterson.
Sure, you
Other
couldn't
jobs are not like
move
that. So
without
my other
moving
example,
your family. Yeah.
my other example though is the National Guard. So when I was in Alaska, I worked with the Alaska Air National Guard, and I'm telling you, there was people that were there as airmen to lieutenant colonels. They've been there for a
Yeah.
long time,
Yeah.
and it's just it
And
creates
they're
this.
smart. They're
They're-
freaking
They
experts
know
on
that
what
unit
they
But-
do.
inside and out. Right.
But I will
Correct.
tell you though, yes, they're smart. They know the system, but they play favorites, and they
Oh,
play this
yeah.
whole different political game that I never agreed with. And I
Yeah,
would
but
call
that's
them out.
never
But
going
that's because
away.
you're a Latina
Never
or
going
Latino up in Alaska.
Latina.
They don't want you up there. Come on.
No, it wasn't that though. It was just
Never
like,
going to go away.
like they would play the Air Force game. Hey, we got to do this and that, but they already had their mindsets on exactly what they were
Yeah,
doing.
you're right. I mean, and a lot of units are like that.
And that's
The
why
guard foster.
and reserve, and
Yeah.
I didn't like. That's a portion that I didn't like about.
If you're a good
Crossing
old
Over.
boy and you're part of the
Yeah.
group, you write your own ticket.
The
Mike.
sky's the limits. Yeah,
But
So,
if you're
I
just
mean,
trying to
there's-
do it on merit,
there is some toxicity into
yeah.
having
Yeah,
stagnated
but that's
leadership.
not going to change. That's never changed.
And
I
Eric, you're
joined
probably
in
right.
1981. It was the same thing. Same
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
You're either
yeah.
part
Yeah,
of the
but-
good old boys
But,
or you're
but like I say, I'm just throwing the dart at like the reason
Sure.
why. Like,
sure.
Sure.
So,
Well,
I
I
agree
don't
with
know.
you. I don't
would
think it's gonna
want
change.
an expert security forces person, especially at Buckley.
yeah.
Well, and the
Cheaper,
dumb thing that
rad.
they're doing.
I want them to be
Is-
very smart on what they do and how they do it.
And
you
actually, that's a
want
good
those
point, though.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good
You
point.
needed
Depending
me,
on the
Anna. That's what
assignment,
it
you
was.
want a certain type of
You needed
experience
me.
coming in.
Yep.
Anna, all Eric knew was football.
No.
All right. That's what his specialty was. Football.
He did not. He
My
did not do
first
security
assignment, for
forces.
Christ's sake.
He volunteered to do all the fun and game stuff. And since he was the poster child and looked like a sports athlete, of
I
course
had
they
a-
used him for everything.
You're killing
Oh,
me.
look at this picture.
I was a
Why
great
should
cop.
this unit
I was
get
a
Oh,
great
I
cop.
can't move it close enough.
Good.
But-
no.
Right here is Eric's OnlyFans page, and I'll send you that
Oh,
picture. So.
You have to send that to me.
Oh no. And it's going to cost you $50 a month.
Well, maybe not. I
You're
gotta
a
save
retired
up
major.
my
he
Can't
has
afford it.
specials. You just gotta wait for him. Yeah, they're like 48-hour specials, so you can get in cheap.
Oh my goodness.
Let me read some of the findings that they got out of this survey. The survey is conducted from October 2nd to December 10th, 2023, so a while ago.
And yet they're not
They-
doing anything about it.
Well, no, but they surveyed 10,000 plus participants.
Well, you know why? Because the people that were doing the study had the PCS.
Right.
Oh, good one. Oh,
So they couldn't finish it.
What happened to
Or
the
they
study?
had to-
I don't know.
oh, that
They
guy
had to get
left.
a second job.
Oh yeah.
They lost interest because they had to get a second job. They're like, forget it.
Couldn't afford it. Gotta go.
He's doing Amway.
Yeah.
39% of the people surveyed said were active duty spouses. 19% were veterans. 11% were active duty troops. 76% of respondents identified themselves or their spouse as enlisted, active duty, retiree, or veteran. So here's some of their highlights. Most respondents reported spending between $500 to $1,000 out of pocket on moving expenses that aren't reimbursed by the military. That seems low to me.
It
That
does seem
seems
low.
like it was
Yeah,
a lot
'cause
more,
A
right?
lot
Yep.
more. Yeah.
43% said the reimbursement process took 1 to 2 months after they moved, or not at all. I mean, I filed claims. I was like, I guess I'm not getting that.
Yeah.
29% reported staying in temporary lodging between 11 to 30 nights during their PCS move. That doesn't sound very bad, actually. If it's available.
Sure.
That's the problem. If
Right.
it's available.
Right.
Put you in fan
Uh,
camp, remember?
Yeah,
Put you in a trailer.
yeah, you have to go to fam camp. Another 21% reported staying in temporary lodging between 31 to 60 nights. That's more like it.
Yeah.
56% of respondents said their household goods were lost or damaged during their most recent move.
Yes.
70% filed a claim. Respondents who filed a claim most commonly experienced a financial loss between $500 and $1,000 above the reimbursement for their claim. Okay, yeah, probably. That makes sense. 46% of respondents said moving has the greatest impact on children, their education, social life, and adjustment to a new location. Oh,
100%.
I thought
Yeah.
that number would be higher.
yeah, you would think it would be higher. That the other 54% were like, I couldn't wait to get out of that place. I was a toolie. I was like, fuck, I'm getting out of here.
So that
takes
makes me think of like a family that, like, say they have like a handicapped child, and they have, you know, a great physical therapist,
That's
a great
huge.
doctor, and
Yeah.
then they're required to move.
I
And
mean,
then finding that again, like,
Yeah,
if
that's
you're
crazy.
stationed now, I don't know what the AFSC is, but let's say you're stationed at Andrews, you probably got great services for something like that. But then you go to Nellis, you probably ain't got great services for something like that, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, that's a great point. If you have any kind of special ed needs, where you go is going to really be impacted. And because I've talked to some parents who have special ed needs, and they're like, oh, we get to know the system, we get to know the doctors, and we get to know kind of the way paperwork flows, and then you got to go and start all over again.
Was that classified
tough,
as a
man.
hardship though? Did that?
There's you can apply for hardship.
Yeah, with
So
a,
there-
with a,
there
Well,
is
that's to like get out though, isn't it?
no, it was
No,
to stay
no,
in place.
to even stay.
Oh,
in
to
place.
stay in place. I guess
If
you
it gets
could, yeah.
approved,
If it
right?
gets approved.
It's gotta get
Yeah.
approved.
Yeah, that's
Sure.
true. That's
I'm
true.
sure the justification
Yeah, it's like
had
for
to be pretty
special
crazy.
needs and all that. And then there's also the other program. If let's say I'm at my 4-year mark, but then my daughter is going to be a junior and senior in high school, you could apply for that too. But then again, it has to get approved, and mission dictating, it could be disapproved. And then, I mean, how many people leave their families behind and then they take a PCS and they're
Yeah.
doing this double thing? I know a lot of people.
Well,
that do this
the
thing.
old days, you could trade a remote
Orders.
for a choice or to come back, right? I
Yeah.
knew guys that did in the Army. They were like down in like Fort Hood, and they're
Yeah.
set there. They'll go to Korea for a year in order to come back to Fort Hood.
Yeah,
for the
and
next
I
assignment.
mean, there's
Right?
people that did Greenland for a year so they could come back to Buckley.
Oh yeah,
or
you bounced to
Madison.
Thule. Cavalier wasn't a remote, was it?
It's
it?
called the CONUS remote, and they would honor you to
Okay.
try and come back. Yeah.
As long as that assignment guy is still there. If that assignment guys go, hey, I was talking
Well,
with
the
Jones,"
thing
and
about
he's
those
like, "No,
assignments,
Jones,
though, you
now you're
usually
talking
end
to
up
me."
a lot of the times you already had your follow on after that. Like, so
Yeah,
you'll get
right,
your
right,
orders,
right.
and then you'll have your follow on orders after that. So
I think the one where I had my foot in my mouth, because for the longest time I was like, who's worried about spouse employment? What the fuck? Why do they keep bringing that up?
They're in our communities.
Well,
What is
is that you typing one? Holy
is.
shit!
yeah, I'm
I felt like we were getting RPG.
no. I'm
What's
looking.
going on?
I'm looking at the different programs for PCS for PCSs, like exceptional family.
Well,
There's,
stop
like, all
gorilla typing, man. You're like,
We all felt like we were in the bedroom with you, man.
You're giving Eric PTSD.
That's
Stop.
right.
But somebody explained it to me, and they're like, "Hey, if she is, say, with a firm or something like that, and you have to leave, and then she has to reapply to something that's not open, she has to start all over again." And I was like, "Oh shit, I guess I didn't realize that. I was thinking, well, why can't she go to BX and get a job?" But I was really being an ass about that. But yeah, if she's a professional and you pull her out or him out, all right, and you're like, "Hey, what if they're in real estate
Or a
and they got
teacher.
or a
Or-
teacher, right?
They practice law under that
So they
state.
may
Now they
not
move
be
to a
able to
different
get
state.
another job.
Well, then
So
you need that $20 bonus, brother.
that'll offset.
Better hang on to it.
It's so outdated, those years.
Yes.
So outdated.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Okay, so here's the capper. Nearly 58% of those surveyed in 2023 would recommend a military career, which is a 5 percentage point drop since 2021. Those who recommend military life to others has fallen steadily since 2019, when it stood at 75%. Now
Well,
it's 58.
We've talked
probably
about
lower.
that on
Yeah.
a number of occasions where
That's
we
right.
said,
That's
I'm
right.
not sure I would do it again. based on
What
it's
was the
turned out.
worst PCS you ever had?
My worst assignment?
No, your worst PCS move. Like, did you have household goods damage? Did you not get paid? Did you do a Diddy move? You know,
You know what? I think
fuck,
probably
Eric.
the Philippines to Peterson would have probably been the worst. Because at the time,
Well, that was an evac.
well, that's what I mean. Because my stuff went earlier, I still stayed in place. So I got to Peterson and had to find where they had my shit in
Oh,
storage.
this is a good one, Anna. Eric was over in the Philippines when they had Mount Pinatubo went off, right?
Oh, I see.
And
Screwed up
one
a
of the
paradise.
things he had to do, he had to stay
Oh.
behind, and because they evac people so quick and so fast, he said the neighborhoods had all these dogs that turned feral because nobody was feeding them and everything else. So
So sad.
he got an assignment to go shoot the dogs.
Yeah,
Oh,
we had
shucks.
well because they were attacking our patrols that were protecting base housing and some of the perimeters. The dogs were running free and wild, and they were biting.
That's
yeah.
that's just
Because they were
oh,
hungry.
Exactly.
Give me your calf.
And there's like, hey, what is that thing you're holding? Is that a liver treat? And they're like, no, it's a bullet.
It was not a good job, but we had to protect our own. So
Oh,
Yeah, it's a
man.
sad job.
Well, on that note, Eric,
yes,
let's go to our last story.
good call.
So
Segue.
from airforcetimes.com, military families overseas are scrambling as U.S. dog travel rules change. Ooh, that was
Because
not
Eric's
easy.
going to shoot him.
Well, you will when they leave them there.
Are you
That's
going to get
right.
reactivated?
I would shoot Cujo. I would shoot Cujo.
Well, sure.
Well, some of these dogs were actually acting like Cujo. I had two
Okay.
security force guys get actual bitten. So that's why our commander said, hey, we're going to do something about it. We got to put these dogs down. So
Well, speaking of that, the CDC just changed the rules effective 1 August. A number of military families stationed overseas are scrambling to find other arrangements for transporting their dogs back to the United States because of new regulations taking effect 1 August. Families are posting on Facebook about departure dates happening as soon as the first few weeks of August, but now transportation is uncertain for their dogs due to new U.S. regulations and some airlines refusing to allow dogs to travel back to the States. The issue stems from new requirements from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention that take effect August 1st, aimed at preventing the introduction of, now this seems silly, right? But it aims at preventing the introduction of dog rabies into the United States.
So,
Don't we have that, right?
and don't we give them shots to
Yeah,
prevent
we give them shots, right?
every
So
4
while
years?
while dog rabies was eliminated in the United States in 2007, there are over 100 countries where dog rabies isn't controlled, according to the CDC. So why are we suffering for that?
Well, you know what?
understand that.
I have a solution for that. So
It's not a bullet.
No. Last week, for those of you who didn't know, I was in the Western Slope, and we
That's
were
right.
staying
Out in Uray, right?
Yeah, out in Uray,
I
and
wanna
we're
go to
staying
Uray.
at a bed and breakfast and it was a German couple who owned. They're on an investment visa to stay in and bought this place.
Oh, wow.
So they had a dog, and there were no special considerations to bring the dog over. So what they
Oh.
did was they went to a doctor, made the dog a service dog or a service dog, and the U.S. said, "Bring him on in." So they were able to bring this small Cocker Spaniel that has now got a title of a service dog, which the U.S. allowed him in, which is kind of
Which
interesting.
circumvented all the stuff, right?
Everything.
Yeah.
But that's
Brought-
what
bring
those
it in.
military families need to do. To say it's my service dog.
Yeah,
my
we're all
service dog.
service dogs. I mean,
It's my
And it's
Um,
got to
emotional dog.
apply.
I heard is there a lesser status like a companion dog or something like that, or emotional support dog or something like that, which is less than like the
Fully
service
qualified
dog
service
status,
dog.
right?
Yeah.
But you can get that, and you know what it sounds like? It sounds like back when before pot was legal, but you could go get like a doctor to go, oh yeah, you need this for medical thing, and like, oh, here we go. Sounds like it's that easy for a service dog too, or a dog of need.
Emotional support dog.
Yeah, emotional support dog. The most immediate problem is that 8 airlines will stop allowing dogs to travel back to the States with their families, either in the cabin or as excess baggage in the cargo hold. German airline Lufthansa is the most recent airline to make the announcement. Due to new restrictions imposed by the U.S. authorities, it is no longer possible to import dogs into the USA after 1 August 2024 until further notice.
That's scary. I think that's scary.
Yeah, imagine if you're like a couple months out from PCSing and you're like, what are we going to do? What are we
Yeah,
gonna
you
do
end up with the
Grace?
feral dogs again.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, but you know, if the dog is close, you
Yeah.
know, how are you going to tell your 12-year-old there's like, yeah, he's got to stay?
We're leaving Bobo.
Oh man, that would suck. Lawmakers have stepped in to urge the CDC director to allow an 18-month delay in implementation of the blanket requirements because the rules affect low-risk dogs personally owned by various types of individuals. A July 8th letter from Representative Nick Langworthy, from a Republican from New York, has been signed by 6 additional members of Congress. Among other things, the dog import form. There's a form. Okay, so here you go, former personnelist. There's a form that you have to fill out, but that form hasn't been translated into the foreign languages for overseas yet. So I got 1 August around the corner, and the countries are like, I don't know what you're talking about. Give me a form that I can read.
Yeah.
Well, part of that is the dog import form has caused concerns because of its delayed public availability and potential concern among dog owners. According to the CDC website, if the rules aren't followed, the dog won't be allowed to enter the U.S. If denied entry, quote, if denied entry, your dog will be sent back to the last country of departure at your expense. Country of departure is where the last trip originated, not where the dog was born.
And then what do you do when the dog
And then
is
what?
sent
It
back?
just gets
What?
thrown over there for baggage claim?
Let it run into the street?
I bet there's I don't know. I mean, the airlines are so goddamn busy. Are they really going to assign an extra person like, hey, go take care of these unclaimed dogs?
Euthanize it, send it to the ground?
Oh man, that's
That'll make
dirty
any
pool. Yeah. Liz Hensel, CEO of Leave No Pause Behind USA, said many military families will now be forced to use pet shippers, which can continue to ship on the airlines, but the cost will be a great hardship for many families. What has been costing around $400 will now be over $2,000. She noted saying that the cost to ship a dog overseas through a pet shipper could be anywhere from $2,500 to over $4,000, depending on the dog location and other factors.
So is that a PCS entitlement now? Can you claim that? It doesn't say
I
that.
don't know. There's no legislation for it. I don't think. I think they were trying to get it, but
I mean,
I've never. You can't.
PCS with
You can, I
dogs,
couldn't
but-
claim the desk that had water damage from the leaky truck it was in, and they're like, we're not. We'll give you $100 for it, and you're like, that desk was $1,000 desk. You think they're going to give you anything
$20
more for that
bonus.
Here's
dog?
1%.
Right.
Save your $20 bonus. You'll add up. It'll get there.
Now, here's the
Just
sad
save it.
thing. I remember, and I think Schofield still has this, and I've said this to these guys before. But when you go into Schofield, if you have a pet, immediately 120-day quarantine, right? And that quarantine is down by the shipping dock, way down by the crappy part of Oahu. So it is 45 minutes from Schofield Barracks. Snake your way through Waikiki, Honolulu traffic to get down there. And I talked to some friends, and they're like, "We got our dog back, and our dog was never the same
Yeah.
because they keep him in a cage for like 120 days."
That's crazy.
They're like in a dog pound.
Yeah. And they're like, "Well, you can come down. You can pay us to feed it. Here's the scam. You can pay us to feed it, or you can come down and every day and feed it, knowing goddamn well that they can't come down every day."
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
And
it's just
so-
spooky.
I think they take him out to go poop, but that's it. They put him back in that cage for 4 months. It's so sad, man. It's so sad.
The whole process that we just spoke about is broke. That makes no sense.
It's broke, but it's not high enough of a level that they're going to fix it.
No.
It seems funny. They're like, "Hey, we can't have dogs coming into USA with dog rabies." Can't you give them a shot in Germany and they'll be fine coming over here?
Don't they have cat rabies? I mean, rabies
Bat
goes around.
rabies? Yeah, I mean, we've kind of solved that problem, haven't we?
We're only looking at dogs.
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's your CDC. So
Mm.
who
whole
kicked
process.
people out of the military for coronavirus, and now they're like, "Oh, sorry about that. Would you like to come back in?"
It's
Yeah,
that
'cause we have
$20 bonus.
We have a recruiting and retention problem.
Oh my goodness.
$20 bonus. Well, let's raise your spirits a little bit. All right. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Scarlett Johansson has a movie coming out.
Hey now.
Right.
Hey,
It's
now.
something about going to the moon, and it was
Drinking her own pee.
during the Apollo program, and they needed to get public sentiment, so she's like a publicist who comes in and helps the Apollo program pitch it to the American people. So because she has that movie coming out here, I don't know, in a week or something like that, she made a video for Space Force. Have you seen that? Have you seen the
have not.
video?
No.
Well, you will be delighted.
Is she wearing the pea suit?
And does it have the
Difficult
third
to
leg
see.
option?
It's a
Difficult
test
to see.
function. Or is she like Cher on the riding a cannon somewhere?
Well, she is a little busty. So there it is.
Happy 5th birthday, Space Force Guardians. I'm Scarlett Johansson from Fly Me to the Moon, and I want to congratulate you on this incredible milestone. Your dedication to secure our nation's interests in, from, and to space is truly inspiring. Here's to 5 amazing years and many more to come. Happy 5th birthday, United States Space
Wow.
Force, and Semper Supra.
She is not wearing the pea suit.
No.
She is not wearing a pea suit.
That's really cool, though.
But I had
Yeah.
to look it up. Do you know when the Space Force was created?
2019.
December.
Mhm.
Why is she saying happy 5th birthday?
July.
Because we're
yeah.
going towards the. Oh yeah, that's true. Because it's
Because somebody
That's a
wrote it
big
for her.
maybe supposed to be released in December of 2019.
Well, they released
right.
it way,
Before.
way early. No, that movie's
Yeah.
supposed to come out like in a couple weeks.
I mean,
So-
we are headed towards our 5th year, or not we.
Yeah,
but
I
the Space
have a
Force is.
feeling maybe her publicist wrote it wrong, and she was just like, "F it, I'm doing it," right? And every Space Force base reposted that video. Buckley, Pete, Shriver,
Oh, of
Vandenberg. It's a great video. She's an
Yeah,
attractive
it's
girl.
pretty cool
I mean,
that she
she's-
did it.
You know,
You know?
maybe she was wearing a pea suit.
She was wearing a sperm suit.
Oh. Yes. Spread it
Something else
around.
that comes out of the pee.
Oh, that's a Facebook reel right there. You're in. You just made your bona fides right there. You're in.
Oh my gosh.
Eric, let's close it out with some U.S. American history.
Right on, man.
U.S. American military history, I should say.
All right. So before I go into the history, I'm gonna give you just a real quick spiel. General Grant, Ulysses S., passed away on this day,
Oh, that's right. From
July
cancer.
23rd, 1885. Yep. So
What was the cancer he had? I can't remember.
throat.
Throat cancer.
Yeah.
Because he woke up smoking cigars. all
Yeah.
day.
And the rolled ones, man, for it's all
the
pure
real
tobacco.
harsh ones,
So-
right.
All right, guys. So tonight,
This is
Tonight's
always an adventure.
this is a great one, man. So I brought it into the more of the future, so you guys are more aware. This occurred in Vietnam.
Oh,
This was
very
the
modern for you.
right.
Oh, when he came in. So it's awesome.
Wasn't quite that far back. Yeah. So this was the Battle of Fire Support Base Ripcord. Anybody hear of this?
Ripcord? No.
Ripcord. Yeah. So a little background.
All right.
President Nixon began the withdrawal of troops from Vietnam in 1969. As the only full-strength division remaining in Vietnam in early 1970, the 101st Airborne Division was ordered to conduct the planned offensive Operation Texas Star near the A Shaw Valley.
Okay.
So in March of 1970, they were positioned to rebuild Operation Fire Support Base Ripcord to support Operation Texas Star. Okay, so 101st in there doing their thing. On July 1st, elements of the 2nd Battalion, 506 Infantry Regiment received 8 82 millimeter mortar rounds, an unknown number of 60 millimeter mortar rounds, and 10 75 millimeter recoilless rounds fired by elements of the PAVN 803rd Regiment. The Vietnam, the AVN was the,
Army of Vietnam, the
yeah,
People's
those
Army
guys.
of Vietnam. Yeah.
people's, yeah.
Yeah.
So for a full month, up to January 23rd, they're battling and receiving rockets, and it's a almost like a caisson kind of siege.
Yeah.
And the numbers just continue to go. So on 21 July, D Company received an attack by fire consisting of 80 rounds of 82 millimeter, and it just consistently went all the way through.
Damn, they just mortared the hell out of these guys.
Oh man, it was terrible. And this is one of those battles you never hear about, like Khe Sanh
Sure.
or
Right.
Tan Son Nhut. And so the losses were big. Losses of U.S. forces were so great that officers began asking for volunteers from other units to go to Ripcord and reinforce the fire base.
Damn.
Finally, the U.S. command realized that the position was not defensible. Now, remember, everything is always already being withdrawn. So these were the last guys,
Oh, shit.
performing operational missions. So
Yeah.
you don't want to die when everybody else is being pulled out. That's crazy.
Scary.
Nor
yeah.
do you want to die anytime.
No, well, of course, you know what I mean. Not defensible, and the decision was made to withdraw. On 23 July at 6:30, the PAVN again attacked the remaining elements who were evacuating the base. The 2nd Battalion returned the fire, and the aerial rocket artillery, gunships, and airstrikes reinforced. When contact terminated, U.S. casualties were 3 killed, including the commanding officer of Lieutenant Colonel Andre Lucas and the S-3. Ripcord
Okay.
was evacuated and abandoned on 23 July. So I want to tell you one other thing. One of the other persons that died was one of the only professional NFL football players to be killed in Vietnam.
Really?
So, yep, and I'll give you his name here. During the 23-day siege, 75 U.S. soldiers were killed at Ripcord.
Damn.
First Lieutenant Bob Calso was the only contemporaneously active pro athlete to be killed during the war.
That name sounds familiar. Yeah.
Colonel
Yeah.
Andre Lucas was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor. Ben Harrison claimed that the Pavin losses at Ripcord crippled their offensive capability for 2 years. So the story here is the guys defended the base to a point where they thought they were going to be overrun. Never occurred. These guys stand tall, and were
Oh, so they retained it.
retained it. Was never
Okay.
overrun,
All
and
right.
they implemented so many casualties on the Pavin that it really hurt their offensive.
See, I thought you were going to give us a bad news story again. You know, you
Nope.
gave us Custer a while ago. You know, it was all these defeats.
This was a good one, and it caught my eye with the NFL player. You know,
Yeah, Calso. Yeah, who did he play with? You didn't look that up, did you?
it didn't give his team. So
Eric.
that's too
You
much
find
detail.
out right now.
It's one more search. Bob Calso. Get on wands. Dun, dun, dun,
Hold
dun.
on. All right, I'm going to give you the answer.
I don't want it now.
Well, you're going to get it anyway.
I do want it now, actually.
He played for the University of Oklahoma and played for the Bills.
There you go.
The Bills.
They
Look how
beat me to the
fast
punch.
he was, man. Those
He was a big fella
Fast.
too.
Fingers
I did it. I
typing
did
on
it through
that
the
thing.
phone this time.
Look at that. Guess
He was a big guy.
You on your keyboard.
Because what was the guy's name that played for Pittsburgh that was wounded? The running
Blyer,
back, fullback.
Rocky Blyer.
Yeah, Rocky Blyer.
Yeah, Rocky
Yeah.
Blyer was right.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, you know, it's like a man's name, right? You know, Rocky Blyer. Well, and then you had to offset it with Lynn Swan, so you got Rocky Blyer, which was the most manly name on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then you had Lynn Swan, the receiver, which was the least manly name on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hell of a football player, though.
But they're both Hall of Famers. So
yes, sir.
anyway, Anna, I think you're going to fit in very well. I like the sperm suit comment. I thought that was well done, right? You know, and as you get more comfortable, you can start chiding these guys. Juan needs sometimes a little bit. I mean, we talk about Eric's OnlyFans page, but Juan looks like he's about to film a video for OnlyFans in a hotel room.
Goodness.
Does he look like he's in a hotel room, like with his pants off?
Oh
Well,
my
that was
goodness.
him on the keyboard trying to access my OnlyFans. That's what that was.
Very quickly.
I'll just do
being
this. They
thirsty
won't
there.
know. What? Credit card. God damn it.
This ain't free, Juan. It ain't free, baby.
I don't remember my CVC code. Well, we do a thing called NDEP. Do you know what NDEP is?
No.
Do you know what NDEX is?
An index card?
And exercise.
Oh,
I knew it was going to go that way. Eventually, I knew it was going to go that way.
excuse me.
NDEX is end of the exercise.
Yes.
NDEP is end of the episode. So we are at NDEP, not an NDEP card. Or could be an NDEP card.
In depth.
Now, one of these days, since you almost were all late for Changeover, we almost all
I
had to
know.
do donuts, you know.
I would have been sad.
But we got it. One of these days, we're gonna figure this out. How to go donut to Eric, and then Eric takes it from me. Eric, the other way, other side. Look at your screen. Now you take it from me. Now you can go down to Anna, and you would have to
And
take
then
it
you
like
gotta
this.
pick it up. You gotta pick it
It's
up.
like the Brady
from
Bunch
the
thing,
bottom.
right? Yeah.
And
you
then I
give
will
it
go-
to Juan.
So it's like the opposite of wherever.
She's not playing.
I don't know what's going on.
There we go.
All right, I'm giving
you
you the
bring it
donuts. There
down,
you go.
and
And
then
then you
give
take
it
them the other
to
way.
Juan.
I
So
can't get this
basically-
right. It's backwards.
I know it's confusing, isn't it? It's very difficult to.
But we're bringing the donuts because somebody's late for changeover, and then I'm just gonna pass donuts to them.
That's gonna
know.
be cool.
That's usually Juan. Juan is almost consistently late every time, but we're glad he's here every time you get right.
Right on.
How'd your son do? How'd your son's team do?
So he did not get to play his last game.
Yeah, because of
we
you.
went to Mexico. Yeah,
Right.
because of me. But it was just that one game that they lost the whole season. So
Oh, there wasn't a tournament or anything like that you kept him out of?
That's a good season.
after that, there was a weekend tournament that he didn't go to. So I'm not sure what the results of that. Oh well.
Good job.
He was in
sports
Mexico.
Dad. Anna, thanks for coming on. On behalf of all of us here, I'd like to thank you for listening today. Please like, share, subscribe, and let us know how we did in the comments. Make sure and let us know what you think of our new female addition. I think she was a refreshing change of pace from all this toxic maleness on this podcast. Let us know how we did in the comments, and make sure next week that you are not late for changeover. I can't even say men anymore. I got to change my whole ending.
Women.
Woman.
Friends, thanks for the week.
There you go.
And for everyone listening and watching, thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you next week.
All right.